Hi, welcome to The Doctors Are In, a collaboration series with Irit Landgraf. We are two scrappers who happen to be doctors in our day jobs from two different continents, and we're going to give you two different takes on solutions to what ails your creative body and soul. This time, we're doing some rejuvenation therapy, so we're pulling out some old supplies and trying to freshen it up and use it on some contemporary pages. There's a playlist for this entire series linked in the information section for this video. Make sure you check out Irit's videos as well, which will be linked in the information section and also included in the playlists. So let's get started. We each have one kit video and two process videos to share with you this weekend. So, The Doctors Are In Clinic is back on this weekend, so thanks for joining us. This is my first of 3 videos from this series for the month of July. My time is escaping me here. So I'm going to share with you guys my loosely, I'm going to call it a kit, but that's a loose interpretation of the word kit. Basically, I have some supplies here that I want to use, and I'll explain what I've pulled and why I've pulled it. So Irit and I are trying to do some rejuvenation therapy this weekend, which means we're going to be pulling out some of our older supplies and using them on some scrapbook pages. What I'm going to do is share with you guys what supplies I've pulled out that I want to use, and then what photos I plan to scrap. And then over the course of the weekend, you will see 2 layouts using these supplies. So this will encourage you to dive into your stash and pull out some of those collections that you love so much from yesteryear and get them into your scrapbook, because there's no point in keeping the paper that we love and the supplies that we love on our shelves or in our cubes or in our drawers when they could be in our albums. So get them out and get them scrapped and get them into a page. So actually both Irit and I have chosen to scrapbook using Sassafras supplies. So you guys know, if you follow my channel at all, you know that Sassafras is like, oh, I love Sassafras. It is one of my favorite lines of paper. They do not produce scrapbook supplies anymore. And so, since they've gone out of business, I have been in the business of hoarding as much and acquiring as much Sassafras supplies as I possibly can. And so, over the years, my kind, generous YouTube supporters and watchers have done a wonderful job of sending some supplies my way. I have snatched up things in different sales when they were first going out of business. And I just kind of have acquired a bunch of supplies in a bunch of different ways. And many of you viewers, like more than 1 or 2 of you guys, have sent me Sassafras items. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I do love them. I do use them. This is not my first layout that I've used Sassafras stash on. But this is going to be 2 that I'm going to really focus on using Sassafras stash. There's a tongue twister for you. So I'm going to start by telling you what photos I plan to scrap. So my husband, I am so proud of Scott. He recently, meaning in September, so this is July, so in September when our international student moved in with us for the year, he was really into fitness. He had been a judo person, I don't know what that's called, in Germany. And when he came here, he just decided that the local club here just wasn't meeting his judo needs. So he decided to join the gym. And he dragged Scott to the gym with him, which was really, really good for Scott, because he had been planning to join the gym. You know, we all plan to join the gym. But Pascal wanting to go to the gym and pushing him to go to the gym every day. Like, Pascal would come home from school and say, "Hey, Scott, are we going to the gym?" And Scott might have said no if it was anyone other than Pascal asking him. But Scott really didn't want to let Pascal down. He knew that he's here from a different country, and the gym is like his main source of, you know, leisure activity. So Scott would go to the gym even on days when he really didn't want to. He would come home and I could tell that he was kind of like in the zone of wanting to chill out and relax, and Pascal would come and say, "Hey, Scott, do you want to go to the gym?" And Scott would kind of like, his shoulders would droop and he'd go, okay. So he'd go to the gym whether he wanted to or not. So hooray for Pascal for pushing Scott to go. And so anyhow, he got into shape over the course of the year. Like by January, he was noticeably different looking. And in January, you'd say to him, hey, Scott, what are you doing? You look different. Are you losing weight? And he would say, no, I actually haven't lost any weight, because as of January, he looked considerably different, but his weight had just redistributed itself. And so the scale wasn't showing after, he had exercised like 3-4 times a day, not times a day, 3 or 4 times a week from September right up until January, not a change in the scale. And I think he was getting a little bit down, but he kept going anyways. And so in February, the store that he works for Apple, and so they were doing this big worldwide challenge with Apple employees to use their Apple Watches and the health app and get in shape. So sorry about that, my daughter had a question for me. So anyhow, I don't remember where I was in my story, but he was getting in shape. In February, there was this big worldwide Apple thing where they were trying to all get in shape. And so he really, he stepped it up. I mean, he was already really going and committed to going to the gym. But in the month of February, he just stepped it up a notch, which I was really proud of him for that, because he could have just kept on doing what he was doing and it would have met the needs of the challenge. But he actually doubled up his challenge. So they were giving you bonus points for, you had to close your rings. So on your Apple Watch, it keeps track of your activity with these rings. And so you set your own goal for what it takes to close these rings. And one of them is for activity, and one of them is for just getting up and standing. And I think one is for calories. I don't know. I actually don't pay a whole lot of attention to the rings, but anyways, maybe I should. Anyhow, they were giving you bonus points for double closing your ring or triple closing your ring. So he wasn't going overboard or anything, but sometimes he would work out twice, but if he worked out twice a day, it would be he'd go to the gym, and then he would also, what he and some of his other co-workers would do is they would go to work half an hour early and then walk the mall, like those old people who walk the mall. It's such a great way of getting exercise. And so we used to tease him that he's, a senior citizen in the mall doing his laps. But anyhow, the joke's on us, because meanwhile, Scott lost a total of 30 pounds actually I think it's now been 40 between September and now. And so, the joke is totally on us for teasing him for being a senior citizen, because he is in better shape than any of us who were teasing him. So anyhow, you can tell by the fact that I'm holding this race bib and waving it around, you probably know where this is going. So a couple of weeks ago, he was invited to run a race, and he actually didn't even tell me about it because he wasn't going to do it. And then he just kind of mentioned it in passing a day or two before the race, maybe 3 days before the race. He was like, yeah, so I'm kind of thinking about doing this. And he wasn't sure if he wanted to, and everybody who we talked to, we were all like, you need to do this, go do it. You'll never know if you like running a race until you run a race, right? And he's like, oh, I don't know if I'll like it. I don't know, if I can do it. I don't, he didn't know what to expect. He had never run with another person before. He had only just made the 5K, being able to run for 5K straight really, really recently. So he wasn't really confident in his running skills. And he still decided to do it. So I was really proud of him, not only because it's a huge accomplishment, the weight loss, the health, the dedication to fitness, and the lifestyle change, but then he kind of he stepped it up again. This is what Scott does. He could have just left it at that, but then he was like, I'll run a race even though I'm really terrified to do so. So that's what he did. And he registered in this local race. It's the Mountain Equipment Co-op's race series. And it was over in this beautiful area of town where my sister used to live, and we never get to go there anymore because she doesn't, I mean, we could, but she doesn't live there anymore, so there's nothing that really brings us out that way. So it was just so nice to go support him. Me and the girls went and waited at the finish line for him, and these are the photos of the race. So I know that that was like a big long story, but this is, you know, rejuvenation series, and so this, I just thought that the story of Scott's lifestyle change and evolution as a runner would be really inspiring to share with you guys. So I thought I'd share some of the details behind these pictures and just tell you a little bit about why I'm so passionate about scrapbooking these pictures in particular and this story or set of stories in particular. So both of my layouts are going to come from this one story and series of events, and I'll tell you what I have in mind. So I have these photos. I think that this is just a beautiful photo. It captures the memory, like kind of like the energy of, you know, all these runners. And this is like, you can't even see how many people were in this because this line is actually really, really wide, and it goes like all the way down here and around here, and it keeps on going. And Scott is like, you can't really see him, but there's like a green shirt right here. That's Scott. I think that's Scott, or he was somewhere around there anyways, because they told fast runners to go to the front and slower runners to go to the back. So he didn't have great confidence in his running skills. It turns out that he positioned himself poorly, and he would have rathered have been up in the front because he had a hard time getting going because there were lots of slow people around him. And so he felt like his time was not as good as it could have been because he kind of like was having trouble pacing himself with all just the crowd of people. Oh, I'm so proud of him. So anyhow, I love this photo, and I'm going to tell you what I did with the photos too. So this one is printed at, I just filled the page with the photo, and so this is a 4x6 page. The photo is a little bit less than 4x6. Then I have this series of 3 photos. So this is him at the starting, and it was just like a, what do you call that? It's like a run in and run out. I can't remember what you call it, but it wasn't a loop. It was like you go in, turn around at the 5K mark, and then turn back. And there were people doing half marathons and full marathons at the same time. So he was like the shortest one. So then there's this picture of him at the start line, and he's like setting his watch. And this woman is not actually running with him, but it's funny that they're both like setting their watch, like checking their watch at the same time, and also wearing the same color shirts. So that's him at the starting line, and then this is him at the finish line, and then here he is, and this girl who was behind, or actually I think she's right here. She wasn't that far behind him. I think you can just see the edge of her right here. I wish I had caught her in the photo. But anyhow, she had been ahead of him through the whole race, and then he pulled ahead at the end because that's, you know, his competitive nature coming through. She probably didn't like that at all. Anyhow, then we have him kind of like, yay, I did 5K type of thing. So I'm going to scrapbook I think I'm going to put this on its own page and then have this be the facing page. And so my 2 pages, I'm going to focus on different aspects of the story. It's not going to be a double page. It's going to be 2 separate pages with that kind of coordinate with one another. The first one will be kind of just like, pardon me, the atmosphere of race day and the energy and a little bit about where the run was. And that sort of thing. And then this one is going to be more about Scott's accomplishment and the Scott's race. And so this picture is more generic. You actually can't see him in it. These pictures are more personal. He's in them. I also have this, which is an Instagram shot that I did. And my plan here is that I'm going to put this in a little page protector in between the 2 pages. I'm just going to put his race. I'm going to have to tear this off and put this in a little extra page protector. And then I plan to actually put this photo on the back because this includes like his earbuds and his watch and his shirt and his shoes that are just kind of like a little bit more context than just the bib itself. So that's what I plan to do. I have his time here. He ran 27:18, which I'm not a runner anymore, so I could never run that fast. When I was running, I was like getting about like 30 or 31, so I guess that's a really good time. I mean, it's not a good time because it's better than my time because I was a terrible runner when I did run, but my running days are over, and I think that 27:18 is a really good time, especially for a first race. So those are the kind of like memorabilia and photos that I'm going to be scrapping with. And then I have my Sassafras last stash. How about that? So this is my folder of Sassafras paper. This is miscellaneous Sassafras paper, and this is how I store my paper. Is I use my Stampin' Up! Tab punch. I put the name of the collection, or in this case it's not a collection, it's just a hunk of paper. So Sassafras Miss, it says, for miscellaneous. And I always punch that out of a paper from the actual collection so that visually I don't actually have to read that to recognize, oh, that's Sass paper, because I recognize the pattern. And then I've been putting these chipboard pieces in here just to kind of give it some stability when I pull it out and push it back in. And I envelop the whole thing in a Ziploc bag that's been kind of like, I cut the top off with the Ziploc part, and then I also cut like I cut it this way as well, so that it's just kind of like a two-sided folder. And then I keep my paper in it. And the reason I do this, I used to just use the tabs and the chipboard, but then the paper would get all like pushed in because my cubes that I store it in are deeper than 12 inches. And so the paper would be kind of like some would be in and some would be out, and it was getting lost. And so this, because it wraps around the back side of it, it keeps it all contained. It also is really great because it means that I can put little pieces of scraps and stuff in here, and it doesn't fall out the bottom because this is contained too. So that's how I've been storing my paper lately. I do have a video about it. I'll try to remember to link it in the information section below. But this is all of my Sassafras paper right here. I'll just pull it out of the folder so that you can get a load of the sassy beauty of this. So Sassafras paper is known for being whimsical, colorful, kind of has a bit of a retro vibe to it, muted, kind of lots of browns, more browns than some other more modern collections. A real vintage feel to it, and they often had these really intricate, detailed edges. And I think, I could be wrong, but Sassafras might be one of the first companies to use their manufacturer's strip as a design element that you could cut out and use separate, like in addition to the paper. So this is all of my sassy paper right here. And this is Sunshine Broadcast. That's what Irit is using this week. And then I just put all the stickers in behind, so I did keep all of the stickers as well. Of course I kept them. I'm not going to throw away Sassafras stickers. So that is the paper that I'm going to be using. I also was recently sent by a really sweet YouTuber, thank you so much, this whole entire pack of Sassafras Whale of a Tale paper. And this is pink, but I kind of thought I might be able, like it has pink as the main color, but I thought that this page here might be something that I want to use in one of these photos. This is just gorgeous. I would love to use this paper. I'm not sure that it's right for this particular project, but it also has all the stickers here, which I might dip into these stickers, especially that one for my journaling or something. So I have that. And then I have all of my Sassafras letters, which I hoarded, like basically, oh, there's one that's not Sass in there. When Sassafras went out of business, I went online and literally bought every package of these that I could find, and so I have all of them. I'm sure you might be able to find some somewhere that I missed, but I bought a lot. Actually, it was Peachy Cheap, I think, that was having a huge like lot sale where you'd get like 5 for like $5 or something. It was a really, I didn't pay a whole lot of money for it, and I bought like 10 or 15 of those lots of it. So I had a whole bunch. Then this is more of my Sassafras stash. So it says right there, Sassafras. And I have some of these flowers, and it was an outdoor run in a really beautiful place, so I think flowers are relevant to the story. And some chipboard. And these are from all different collections. I have a lot of these layered flowers. Again, I think these were available on Peachy Cheap back when they first closed. And some of these were given to me by Stephanie as well, because Stephanie is a big Sassafras lover as well. Sassafras also made these really cute little cards, sets of cards that I love, and I have those in my stash as well. Paper Whimsies, these are kind of like layered die cut pieces that make little layered flowers. And these little cardstock stickers are kind of awesome. And there's a whole bunch of them. These I got from Stephanie. I really like that little bird. I think I like this set. I might use these for sure. Oh, I also like these, and they fit with the colors. Anyhow, we'll see. We'll see what I use. And then there's some trucks that don't apply, and some fruit that doesn't apply, and a hippo. Oops. So yeah, and then there's some baby stuff, and then that's not Sassafras stuff down there. So that's what I will be digging from, and I might use some other things from my stash as well. So I'm not going to necessarily limit myself to Sassafras, but Sassafras is definitely going to be my main source of supplies for these projects. Now, along the lines of rejuvenation therapy, I have these old thickers. They're daiquiri, my all-time favorite thicker ever, ever, ever. If I had to only have one kind of thicker for the rest of my life, it would be daiquiri in black foam. I love, love, love them. I don't think they make them anymore. I have 2 sets, and so even though it looks like I'm running low, I hope I actually have some on the second page that will allow me to make some actual titles. Yeah, so the second page is looking better than the first. So I'm hoping to use daiquiri, but if I can't make a title with daiquiri, I have some Fitzgerald in the wings. Those are newer. I wouldn't really consider those old stash, but they're not brand new either. The black Fitzgerald, I'll show you those as well. So these are the Fitzgerald ones. They're just slightly thinner and different font. They're all caps. And then I have these Woodland Dear Lizzie ones as well. I chose all black foam and all block letters because I thought it worked with the number on the bib. And these are block as well, like blocky, although they're all lowercase. So I'm going to get started scrapbooking, and you will find a couple of process videos from me this weekend. I want to make sure that you guys also check out Irit's videos. There is a playlist for all of the videos in this entire series, so not just these July 6 videos. There will be 3 from me and 3 from Irit. Check out the playlist because there are also, we've done this clinic several times over the past, I think we started maybe about a year ago, maybe a little less than a year ago. And so you will see in the playlist all of the older videos from other The Doctors Are In series as well. So make sure you check out Irit's new 3 videos that will be up this week as well. I'll link those in the information section below, but I'll also put the larger playlist that includes the whole series. So thanks so much for watching, and have a great scrappy weekend. Okay, so here's the thing that I forgot to mention in my kit video. When I was talking about these photos, I said I was going to come back to something, and then I didn't. I always do that. So I knew as I was printing them up that I would be scrapbooking these with this Sassafras paper, and I know that the Sassafras paper has strong colors. Sorry about the TV sounds from upstairs. So I knew that the Sassafras papers that I'd be working with have strong colors and really bold graphic elements. And so what I decided to do with these photos was to make them kind of stand up to the busyness that will probably be on the layouts themselves. I don't know for sure that it's going to be a busy layout, but I suspect it might be. So what I did was I used on my Apple computer, I used the Photos app, which is just the app that comes with the computer to manage my photos. And so before I printed these up, I put the chrome filter on all of them. And I don't usually put a filter on my photos if I'm printing them from my computer. Sometimes they already have a filter if it's an Instagram photo that has also been, say, like all of my Instagram photos automatically also go on my computer. So I don't usually do that, but I did in this case just to give these photos this kind of like bright pop of color. And it basically, the chrome filter, it bumps up the color saturation and the brightness a little bit, and also increases the contrast. And so the photos as a result are not as good quality. Like they're still good quality, but they have this like harsh look to them that's different than the original photos had. If I was doing this with Instagram, I would use the Clarendon filter for it. So if you don't have an Apple computer, you can get a really similar look by using the Clarendon filter on Instagram. So that's all I wanted to say about that. Now I'm going to get back to scrapping.